So far on my channel, I've covered the Bontrager bicycle tire pump. It's a little under 40 bucks. I also found that at Aldi stores you could pick up this Bike Mate for $9.99. It's okay, has its flaws, not perfect, but it's okay. Well, it was in Harbor Freight. I found yet another pump. This one is $9.99 from Harbor Freight stores, but as you know, Harbor Freight, you always use a 20% off coupon. How about $7.99? Let's take a look at this, see if it actually works. First things first about this Harbor Freight pump, I want to be totally transparent. I've been looking for this thing for a month. Haven't had it in my Harbor Freight stores, and also the reviews for this thing on the Harbor Freight website, not very good, so I don't have really high expectations, but for $7.99 I figured it was worth a shot. Initial impression on quality, I've pumped down on it a couple of times. It seems like it's expelling a pretty good volume of air. Now you'll notice that the tube, if you watch the other videos, you know this does about 3 pounds per pump. This was about 2. Well, this is even smaller. It's about the same diameter as the Bike Mate, but even smaller. So I think this will get about 1.5 pounds maybe. That's what I expect, but it does seem to work. The gauge is interesting. Look at this. It actually looks like a car tachometer or something. It's pretty cool the way they made this. Now this base doesn't really have a third foot. It's just got this nub. So I don't know what that's going to mean for stability. I mean, you can see it rocks significantly compared to the others. It's a significant rocking, but you're going to have your feet on it when you're pumping. Now it does have the same type head as this Bike Mate. So we'll see if that works okay, and it also comes with the same little extra valves as the Bike Mate. Let's just get it up close here and see what the card says. There's the information on the card. Up to 120 psi max pressure. That'll be important in a moment. By the way, this is item number 63304 from Harbor Freight. There you see clearly designed for bicycles. But that is the pump. Nothing fancy at all. But again, I think that's a metal tube. Let me go get a magnet, see if I can stick to this thing. See if this is a metal tube. Yes, now see, I've already tried this. It does stick to it. This is a metal tube. This is why you can't always trust the reviews on the Harbor Freight website. Seen quite a few reviews that said that the entire thing was plastic. Clearly the pump is metal because a magnet sticks to it. Feels like metal. So let's get it into the bicycle tire and see how well this airs up. One of the complaints was that this hose was very flimsy, kind of like the fuel line on their generators, just kind of flimsy, and that it would blow out when you got over 40 to 45 pounds of pressure. I need more than that to air up my bicycle tires. But this does feel thicker. Matter of fact, it feels almost as thick as the Bike Mate. Probably not quite, very close. I'm wondering if that's why it was gone for a month. Maybe they updated something on it, but we'll see. Let's get it in, take a look. Let's give this a shot. Before we get into it, let me check the PSI on this tire. It says that it is at 60.5 PSI. Take our hose off. It's not very long, but it does feel okay. Now let's see if this head is as horrible to deal with as that Bike Mate one. Dual design just kind of gets in the way. Yeah, about like the Bike Mate. Well, this says 59 PSI on this gauge. I think you can see it. See if I can zoom in down there. Nope, you can't see it. But it says 59 PSI, so hey, that's close. Let's pump it up to, heck, let's go all the way to 80. Oh man, this thing is hard to press. Yeah, you have to put some weight on this thing. Definitely difficult to pump. Okay, that says 80 PSI. Our tube didn't blow, so I guess that would dispel the worries about it blowing at 40 PSI. Let's get it off. Check our tire pressure. The Craftsman gauge here. 76.5, and it was 79.80 on the tire pump gauge, so not bad. Not bad at all. So thus far, you know, airing up one tire, big test, right? The gauge seems to work. We know it has a metal housing. This tube is not as thin as I was led to believe by the reviews. Still don't like this little dual valves. They just kind of get in the way when you're working between the spokes. And of course you have your feet on this when you're pumping, so not having a third little foot doesn't seem to bother it too bad. But hey, for $7.99 on one tire, it works. I'm going to conduct a few more tests. I'm going to let the air out and kind of run through a few things. See if we can get this to mess up. Well, I've used this thing so far about a dozen times, and it has worked perfectly. The gauge is reasonably accurate. It's not perfect. It does vary just a bit when you get up to about 80 psi, but it only varies by about 5 psi, and that's only in the upper stages around 80. The downside that I'm finding to this pump is over about 50 to 60 psi, this handle gets exceedingly difficult to pump. My Bontrager does not, the bike mate really doesn't. This one is a workout. That's why you only saw a take of me doing about 3 airings, because it wore me out. This thing's difficult to pump on when you get up into the higher pressures, but you know, 12 or so airings, and I drained the tire completely down, aired it up from empty about a dozen times, 10, 12 times. It's worked perfectly. So for $7.99, and knowing that you've got 90 days, if something were to happen to it, to return it at Harbor Freight, I think this is a buy. So again, this is the Harbor Freight. It's not a Bike Pro brand like some of their other stuff. This is just called the High Flow Hand Air Pump. Item number 63304 from Harbor Freight. Seems to work. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.